Good night, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Sports Scene. It's always great to have your company. I'm Elijah Lavette, and like always, I'm joined by Miss Dini Rose Raiko. Dini, how have you been so far this past week?
I've been great. You see, I've been covering a number of sporting events. Most definitely Central Provincial Games was one of them. And it was interesting to see the athletics talent they have on offer. I was down at the Surgeon Guy Stadium. They also had their ball games. It was up at Agarobe. Unfortunately, we didn't catch up on the ball games, but athletics showed some promising talent. So that story coming up later on the show.
That's going to be coming up later on in the show, but also on tonight's show, we have the Agarobe Cup, some sailing and updates of the second week of the 2019 Rugby League World Cup. That's all coming up later on in the show.
We begin with Rugby League. Everybody loves Rugby League in this country. For Central Province, the off-season is promised to bring in some great action on the field. The Central Province Premier Rugby League kicked off the Hardware Haus Agarobe Cup last week.
Doing it the Central way was the spirit of the tournament as it kicked off last week. A slow 2-hour delay at the Murray Barracks Oval in Port Moresby before a soft launch saw the teams in the Under-20 division do battle. The Under-20 division had 8 teams on paper, which included Aroma Coast, Hiri East, Hiri West, Koyari, Amazon Bay, Goilala and Rigo. Rigo, unfortunately, were forfeited.
Please do not use this as a local tourist destination. You're here to work.
This is the first of its kind. Now this is trying to be a model for the PNG rifle. We are aligning our their programs and like a future rain. So all the creams of district teams are playing in this competition.
The competition saw its launch proper by the governor, Robert Agarobe, and the sponsor, Hardware Haus.
We have 8 district teams taking part in this program. And in Abao we have Amazon Bay and Aroma Coast. Rigo, we have Rigo League. For Hiri, because it's a big electorate, we have 3 district teams, Hiri East, Hiri West and Koyari. And also we have Kairuku. So it's all rural youth taking part in this program. And it's good to see that we are changing their mindsets and we are sort of focusing especially in the development.
We want to push rugby league a bit more. We want to give it a lot more support. So what we're doing is looking at developing the program right down into the communities, because it then also complements the other 2 sectors of agriculture and tourism. So we want sports to be a catalyst to bring tourists into the communities to watch the game, to watch the code.
Matches from the Cup were live streamed on social media, the first for a tournament of this magnitude.
Competition will go for 10 weeks. And I'm planning to have 3 games, one in Abao, in Pelagai village, the other one is in Kuikila, Rigo, and Kairuku in Bereni Station. This time I will involve the community. They'll come and support their favorite teams, and also there will be a lot of cultural activities. I'm planning to have them on the day.
That's why our concentration on rugby league is that it is a game that is heavily followed, especially with the New South NRL football in Australia. So, and we've been close to Australia. There's a lot to tap in from here. And our Central Province boys are naturally very good at playing rugby league. We had some of the best teams before. We had Hawks, Hanobara Hawks. We had the DCA from Porebata. So we had a lot of very good, talented players that came out of these teams. It's not by fluke that we are now pushing rugby league. We know that we can deliver some very, very good players that might end up in Australia again. So we want to do it properly, and that's why the amount of planning we're starting to put into driving that code.
...2017 PNG Games champions Central Province begins their preparations for the 2020 Games. That story after the break. Stay with us.
And preparations have begun this early out with the 6th Central Provincial Games last week, which was the perfect opportunity to scout for homegrown talents to send to the 8th edition of the Grassroots Games.
Sixth Provincial Games.
Although we probably the rain stepped us, we were on schedule. And I'd like to thank the technical officers, including the support staff from PNG Sports Foundation who helped us with the running the races today. Without them, probably would have not, been on schedule.
The games started last Tuesday and ended on Friday with the ball games up at Sogari and athletics down at the Surgeon Guy Stadium.
This is the start of the preparation. We and for the districts to participate in the provincial government, provincial games, they start off having ward plans, LLG games, and then they come up to the district games. So we want to get down to the rural communities as much as possible. Most of the times in the past we have seen that they were only looking at people at urban towns, but we overlooked people at the rural center. But the concept of PNG Games is about exposing the talents of the young people at the rural areas. So the motto of the Central Province Administration is going rural.
Five teams came together for the games. That's Abao, Rigo, Kairuku, Hiri and Yarawari Secondary School Centre team as well. On Friday, the games came to a close with the athletics finals. And the results are as follows. Abao takes home the title in netball. Kariku men and women dominated the track and field events, taking home most of the medals on offer. And it was the Rigo side that came in full force, taking out both the men's and the women's soccer titles.
The selected list they will give me, I will now get the names of the athletes, and then I will have to go back to previous games and see if these athletes were part of the team before. If part of the team before, then they have already gone to that level. So they'll have to go back and they have to drop them and then put some new ones on. They've gone and they didn't deliver, so why should we bring them again, you know? So we have to bring new ones. So that's the strategy we're going to apply. It will take some time as of today until next year March. So in that transition, I'm going to start looking at their ages, their origin, their place of origin, where they were born and all that, you know. But we give first preference to Central Province people. In our team, we as much as possible, the preference goes to Central Province people, and the second goes to mixed parentage. And the third goes to people from other provinces, but they have resided in Central Province for some years. We also appreciate their time with us. So we also give their children a chance to represent. So by March next year, I'll recall the teams to come with, just call it team bonding.
Although the Governor's Cup did not change hands because there was a technical issue that led to a dispute, resulting in the provincial administrator still holding on to the cup. Nevertheless, assessments were carried out and a selection process will soon follow in this first phase of the 2020 PNG Games preparations. Come 2020, Central Province will look to send again a small but very effective team to defend the title.
All the participants who are here as well, you've done very well. You're very, very good ambassadors of Central Province. And just watching the last part of the event today, you know, it's really, really exciting for me. And that's what we want to keep promoting. We want to keep promoting that type of spirit within the province.
To Rugby League now, and the International Rugby League calendar isn't over. In fact, it's just begun. An exciting 9th tournament, which is the first of its kind, will kick off international test tours at the end of the season proper.
The PNG Kumul's jumper will be put to the test once more in a month's time as the country's #1 team partakes in the coming test fixtures. This to come after a much faster-paced concept, the first of its kind to be played amongst Rugby League test nations.
And there's the opening and the first try of the night.
Known as the inaugural Downer Rugby League World Cup Nines, it is a fast concept and will feature 12 of the Code's playing nations. Kumul's rake James Seguiaro has been named captain. PNG's men's and women's teams will play 3 games, each in a round-robin format. The PNG men are placed in Pool A with Australia, New Zealand and USA, with the top 2 to advance. The PNG women are placed in Pool D, which comprises Australia, New Zealand and England. The semi-finals will be played straight after the round-robin fixtures conclude. The 9th tournament is a starting point for the national select side, straight after the Telstra NRL Premiership. The PNG Kumuls play Fiji Bati at Christchurch Stadium in New Zealand in the second week of November. The test follows a disappointing loss to Toa Samoa in the mid-year Pacific Test.
Harris Davida, he is thinking about one. Off the post, it's still there. He puts the ball down, it'll score a try. That'll win the test match for Samoa.
While the Kumuls have the chance to still prove their might, the clean sweep test record against Fiji remains their strength to date. A week later, the Kumuls play host to the British Lions in Port Moresby, the first time again after 23 years.
We'll go for a break now, and on the other side, Sports In continues.
Welcome back to the show. Now to sailing, and sailing is part of life for coastal PNG. The Papuan region still treasures the traditional practice, honoring it through sports. No one knows competitive sailing more than Upu Kila, a man from Hula in the Central Province who's dedicated his life to the sport. Upu, now a resident of Australia, returns home to the Royal Papua Yacht Club in Port Moresby to pass on his wealth of knowledge to the young aspiring sailors.
A word of advice can go a long way. For the young sailors, it's wealth of knowledge that's needed to master the art using modern sailing craft. Upu Kila Senior, a man who is synonymous to the sport of sailing, he's been recognized for his services to the sport for close to 40 years. An MBE attached to his name.
I started from canoes, racing canoes, and then later on I saw the OB kids on the harbor, and then I said, oh, I wouldn't mind riding one of them. So I met my wife Charmaine, and she got me into yacht club, and this is where I started sailing. I was used to the canoe, racing on the canoe. So once I jumped on the hobbies, it didn't take me long to get used to the boat. And I think it was just a matter of getting used to the boat and the rigging, So.
Upu Senior has been grooming this young crop of sailors for over a week. The young men have been coming to the Royal Papua Yacht Club to fine-tune their skills in sailing using the facilities, which include the boats, for free. Also, with the teenage cadets who attended the training were experienced sailors.
All the kids that are coming is under Yacht Club, so they are all known as RPYC cadets.
At the Royal Papua Yacht Club, obviously we have a large family market, and a lot of the children don't have exposure to the assets that we actually have here at the club. So it's exciting for us to obviously develop their skills and see them progress further.
The ones who are currently sailing, they go and post their photos on Facebook or tell the next door neighbors and their village children about sailing. That's happening in RPYC, the program that is running here. So from there we start picking out kids from each villages.
So during the 8 days, we've been I've been doing a lot of theory sessions and also on the water training, and they're good. They learning very quick, and they've been learning new things every day, and they picking it up very well.
After a week of skills training, it's now off to the water. On the water past the old Fairfax Harbour, and the scenery here is very beautiful, I must say. And with the winds at around 13 to 14 knots, it's perfect weather for sailing. A test on the open sea. On the start line, it's time for a race. The hobby slightly bigger compared to the one-seater laser boats on show. Fast yet fun, and at times a bit rusty for the cadets.
They are sailing really well. The only couple of things they need to improve in is boat handling. When it's in heavy weather conditions. So I'm gonna leave that program with Junior Upu here to continue that boat handling course training. So he can train them every day to try and get them better on boat handling.
The fun continued over water. More turns, more fun.
I'm watching them, the way they're sailing. I think they're ready to represent PNG at the youth regattas in overseas.
Name is Felix Pondak.
and me, I'm 16 years old, and I love sailing because my big brother used to come over here and train some of my friends.
Something make him na you like him this sport lo sailing.
Papa belum ni sail sen. Itu me like follow footstep.
Forget everything I ever said. Spin around and shaking, I can barely stand. Girl, that's why I always keep you close to hand.
People have opinions, doesn't mean I have to listen. There's something about you that just keeps me compromising. Don't speak your language, I'll be fluent in the morning. Talk just a little, let's meet in the middle, babe. Talk just a little, let's meet in the middle, babe. Talk just a little, let's meet in the middle, babe.
We'll go for a break now, and on the other side, Sports Scene continues.
Welcome back to the show. Now we take a look at volleyball, and after missing out on the 2019 Pacific Games in Samoa, the Papua New Guinea Samoa women's team are now preparing for an international fixture later this year.
It's a 54th neighborhood volleyball. It's going to be in Canberra.
Experience and talent are the ingredients for the team, as team manager Odit Maino believes in giving an opportunity to new players with talent, at the same time keeping the experienced players.
The team is made up of half the experienced players and half the new experienced players. The reason why I did that is because when the old ones, when they reach the age that they are unable to play, then we have these people, the young ones that will have experience from them, and then we get the new ones to learn from the new ones that are now on. Yes. So that's the reason why I wanted it to be like that. It's not only that, but they are young and they are able to move faster.
Amo's experience comes in the likes of Josie Dick, Philo Amaisi, Clara Vella, Pepatoa Wadu, Velga Sinari, and Hitolo Raka. The promising inclusions are Theresa Fagao, Antoinette Isakina, Linda Alpha, Doriga Oni, and Caroline Killa.
The young ones that just joined, it will be a great opportunity for them to be in to have that international exposure, which is going to be in Canberra in November 23rd to the 24th.
Traveling with the team is team manager Odit Maino and coach Ovia Matayo Taroho.
You know, Dina Rose, I understand there's some faces missing from the women's Samoa team that were the previously. Is that correct?
Yes. We've followed the Amor men's and women's team. Were actually two of the first teams we followed when we were starting the Road to Samoa segment here on Sports Scene, and there's a significant number of faces missing there. 2015 captain Lois Garena is missing from this list as well, although we are yet to hear of any reasons as to why some very strong playmakers are missing from this team. But otherwise, all the best to the girls out there. To basketball now. The Mineral Resources Development Company is the first to support the 2019 National South Basketball League tournament. The company presented 50,000 kina towards the hosting of the games from the 24th to the 26th of October in Lae, Morobe Province. The tournament is the biggest off-season organized competition featuring Southern Highlands basketball teams from around the country. It's expected to be bigger this year, with 20 clubs expected from both the men's and women's divisions respectively.
And we've successfully, for 2 years in a row, we've hosted a tournament in Mosby. Now, because of the financial crisis and economic crisis that we are going through, there's plenty. We've been, giving the burden to the clubs and the teams and sponsors for them to come to Mosby, the airplane, airfares, and also accommodation. For them to stay here in terms of food and accommodation, and it's been a big challenge for the clubs, especially the guys in Highlands. So now the committee, the members of the National South Basketball League has agreed to take the tournament to Lae, which is closer to the people, especially the guys from our part in especially Highlands. So we did on behalf of the National South Basketball League, I want to once again thank MRDC for your continued support, not only in basketball but all other sports, in rugby and rugby league and all other soccer and whatever. I mean, something below South, so you may stop now, you may support him. South and big plus something.
You've started it and you're continuing to build it. We are very happy to be part of it. We are partnering with you with this program that you're going to run this year in Lae. I think that this is something that is linked to the grassroots basketball, and it's not in the proper season, but it's in the off-season. I know that a lot of Southern Islanders will take part in it. They'll come from some of the remote parts of the country to just take part in the tournament. And I think you will have a really good time running this. So we just want to congratulate you and your team for putting this together again. This time it's going to be in Lae. So we're looking forward to you taking part there and you providing the leadership in making sure that they have a very good tournament. So
we'll head off for a few short messages now, and on the other side we bring you the Rugby World Cup Week 2 results. Stay with us.
Welcome back. You're watching Sports Scene. To the 2019 Rugby World Cup now, and second week of competition has seen some great display of rugby in Japan. Here are the results of the last 7 days.
Campagnaro on the outside, Minozzi inside to Bizegni. Jeff Hassler with a tackle. But Italy in rampant form in the early stages of this game. 10 points to the good, and away they come. It's the captain, it's the second row, it's a second try.
Italy still holds the top spot in the pool, continuing their winning streak from the first week, this time with a 48-7 thrashing of the Canucks.
Very aggressive from Italy. Pellegrini has done it again. Bellini to Minozzi, and if anybody deserves a try, it's Matteo Minozzi.
Well, we've seen some audacious...
USA again fell victim to England's attack, allowing the Englishman yet another win of 47-5 to hold a placing at the top in Pool C.
Contenders for the MasterCard player of the game, combining superbly here for the try. Look at this, inside, outside, time to pass perfectly. Ludlam was out there. There was a queue of England players wanting to score. Ludlam gets it. But again, it's the build-up that's most impressive from this English team. Power when required, guile when necessary, and the timing of pass just perfect.
Ludlam, first try for England, and it happens to be.
And Uruguay found out the hard way that Georgia was nothing like Fiji, losing 33-7 and trailing behind Georgia on the Pool D ladder on 5th placing. New Zealand this time pulled a 23-13 win over South Africa, although South Africa is ahead of their opponent on the pool ladder sitting on 2nd placing. And Samoa failed to conceive even a try, with Scotland walking away victors in this meet with a 37-0 scoreline. And France came back stronger, beating USA 33-9 last night.
Okay, it doesn't even break stride. He doesn't have to slow down. He just has to catch.
On the in ball from TJ Perinara. Todd's had some excellent runs through this first 16 minutes of play. Sonny Bill Williams dumbing to the outside and powering his way over the line.
Well, that's what he can do, Sonny Bill Williams. Doesn't matter how many are on him. He'll take out 2, 3, 4. Get behind, get that arms free.
And the Canadians still couldn't secure a win this week with a massive 63-0 loss to the All Blacks. Here are the draws for the 3rd week of the World Cup.
And our PNG Kumul centre Justin Olam and his beloved Melbourne Storm have fallen short of a grand final appearance after a hard-fought loss to last year's Premier Sydney Roosters. Olam was on the verge of becoming the second homegrown export behind Marcus Bai to play in the NRL grand final, but was denied the privilege to do so. He is thankful, however, for the experience.
We lost the first one, but it's good, we win the second one and give our chance to compete again, and it's good.
First time you played in a final series, have you noticed any difference between finals and normal NRL?
Oh, it's definitely. I think it's a way everyone wants to win, and then they're playing their best footy, and then it's the intensity is obviously it's a bit faster than the normal game, which is good.
Start of the year you were playing Q Cup and you've made your way into the NRL. Great season for you.
Yeah, definitely. I wasn't expecting that I was going to play that much amount of the game in the first grade side, but I just wanted to go out there and give my best for Falcons every game, and then I love playing for them. So I've been doing that, and then I'm lucky I got the opportunity to play with the big boys, and yeah, been good so far.
One of the guys you spend a lot of time with is the Fox on the wing over on your side. Great combination you got going there, you two.
Oh, he's a great player. He's one of the best wingers in the comp, and good. He helped me a lot. Talk to me as well. Whenever I'm out of shape, or whenever I don't have enough energy to go, keep going. He keeps telling me what to do, and which is good. And then I help him out with a few things as well. So yeah, we've learned a lot from each other.
Back in your homeland, there's been a lot of interest and publicity. Have you been hearing much from back home?
I try to keep my head in Melbourne and stay here and then play my game, but yeah, that's all I can control, and that's what I'm doing.
The NRL is very popular in PNG. Do you think you're making it even more popular?
I don't think I'm making it even more popular. I think, because NRL, everyone back at home, they love rugby, and everyone has their own NRL team, and they always support their own NRL team every weekend, and I don't think I made it more popular than it already is, and I think, yeah, that's it.
But you might have got a few more Melbourne Storm fans thanks to your contributions this year.
Oh yeah, that definitely. My family and my friends are always, there every time, sending me messages and supporting me, which is good, and that's all I need.
Yeah, look, Elijah, Justin Lam has done great so far this year. He's represented PNG well out there and also donning the purple jumpers, so it's great to see him out there.
Yeah, too bad they couldn't win last week's game to go into the grand final, and of course he would have been the second PNG export after Marcus Bai to play in the grand final. But he's been selected into the PNG Kumul's 9th team that will be taking part in the 9th World Cup in 2 weeks' time. So they'll be up here in Port Moresby next week with all the others that have been selected, and they'll be preparing for 1 week before they leave for Sydney, Australia. Anyway, we'll head out for a few short messages, and when we return, we'll wrap up the show. Welcome back to the show. Now, before we go, Dini, will you be out anywhere this weekend at any sporting ground, covering any sporting event?
Yeah, look, we're always going out. So you may find me at some sporting venues around Bissini Prison, but I'm actually really looking forward to the NRL Grand Final.
Yeah, the NRL Grand Final is also coming up, this Sunday? Go the Raiders. Go Richard Maggie and the Raiders. We wish the Raiders all the best.
They will
Roosters,
lose.
I'm not too sure.
They will lose. The last time I supported Roosters, they won, so they'll win this time.
Yeah, we'll see.
I have faith.
Anyway, Dini, calm down. Let's take a look at what else is coming up this weekend. We've come to the end of the show, but if you'd like us to cover any sporting event or any sporting story that you'd like us to cover, just send us an email to sports@emtv.com.pg or message us on Facebook. That's our Sportsin's Facebook page. Oh, I'm getting tongue-tied here. And also, you can call us on 312-9200 and ask to speak to any of us, and we'll be more than willing to help you out. We've come to the end now. Dini, thank you again for this week coming on.
Thank you, viewers, as well.
Yeah,
for tuning
thank
in.
you, viewers, as well. You can join us same time, same place next week. Good night.